right, here we are for another conversation that's evolving.
Definitely,
Funny
my
enough.
abilities at conversation are evolving, hopefully not devolving.
Hopefully not now. Our conversation skills are evolving in this art project we have.
Yeah.
Oops.
But according to Hamilton, as long as my consciousness continues to evolve, I'm just getting better and better. So,
Yeah, we're just getting better and better in little ways we can.
yeah, bit by bit.
Uh,
I'm not sure what bit's better, but some of the bits must be.
well, I could say from doing this podcast, my skills of listening have improved
That's amazing.
and not interrupting or giving my best not to
Mm.
interrupt.
Oh, I'm an interrupter.
Same here. Same here. Even though I don't always mean to.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I feel like, I mean, if I look at my kids, that's what they do. Dad, 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 dad. Like Lucas always yells at us that you interrupted me. I'm like, what do you think you do? You're always interrupting me.
That's funny.
Yeah. Not to give away too much personal info on Lucas, but even his teacher said that he needs to, that's one of the things that the teacher recommended that he needs to work on is his ability to let the teacher finish up with someone and Lucas find patience in whatever guidance or direction or question he has.
Yeah, listening is a skill.
For sure. For sure.
Take take some work at it.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, today's episode is sponsored by Young You Organics. You can go online and find that on Google or just type in Young You Organics with an X.com. And on the website, you can go to the Body and Spirit tab and you'll find this white sage smudge spray that we have here. And it works the same as smudging, like with sage and using the smoke, but without the smoke. And it cleanses the energies and clears the spirits and can offer you preparation for what you have to do and supports dreaming. And yeah, Melissa and I had a ceremony this weekend in which we used it and it brought a lot of grounding energy and just a lot of pleasant spirits to the space with the plant spirits that are in this and crystals. Yeah, it's a very lovely spray. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. Young You Organics. Go and get yourself some. Got anything to add about it, Melissa?
I love this mud spray for just, I really think it just like picks up my mood when I spray it. The scent is very light and just spraying it right in your face just gives you a little pick me up, kind of like a little reset in the middle of the day or whenever you spray it. I have mine here in my office on my desk. I spray the kids before they go to bed. I have one by my bed. I spray myself before I go to bed. And I also have one by my kitchen sink. So when I see it, I remember to spray myself through the day. I love it. Get
Yeah,
yourself as many bottles as I have.
yeah. It makes you smell good too. Like it's nice to smell good.
Yes, yes. I have shared here before that we use it as well for when we do forget to wash the uniforms and the kids don't like how their shirts smell. So in a pinch, it replaces doing laundry.
Not recommended, but that's funny.
That might be like an
So
advertising hook for her. Are you a busy mom that forgot to do laundry?
that is a good advertising hook.
Mhm, mhm. Do your kids' socks smell really bad when they get home from school? Oh, that's a good idea. I should smell their feet. I spray their feet and their butts when they get
We
home from
have
school.
we have something for you. Gotta get the guy though that did all of those infomercials with the sham wow who's like cracked out.
Well, I don't think I know that. I mean, I know of the Sham Wow, but I don't know that I remember the infomercials from them. I'll have to Google that.
Ah,
Second brain. What is this thing that I don't know?
the age of infomercials is over.
Or I could go to that store in the mall that I've seen on TV.
Yeah, I don't have one of those around me.
I'm not sure our mall still does, but I've certainly seen it in the past at a mall. Malls of the past, right? Malls are almost becoming a thing of the past, aren't they?
Yeah, that's certainly seems like that.
Yeah. I feel like Amazon, that's probably Amazon's mission statement.
I mean, it's kind of like way easier just to get from Amazon. You don't have to go anywhere. I mean, for me, like half the time I would go to the mall, I wouldn't find anything I would want.
I do feel that way about the mall. I don't feel good when I go to the mall, so I do try to avoid going.
Yeah, me too. I highly prefer prefer Amazon.
I do not prefer shopping on Amazon though. I also try to do as much shopping in person as I can, which is not easy because there's not a lot of selection in the stores anymore.
Mm, yeah, some things, I guess. What, clothing you mean? Or what?
For example, children's backpacks. I think there's a
Mm,
much bigger selection online than you could find at Target. I don't know where my mom used to get them. We used to buy a Jansport. I'm sure we had to go to the store to buy that. There was no online shopping. Or I suppose now if you buy it at LL Bean, there's probably more of a selection at LL Bean online, you know?
yeah, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, some things I prefer in store clothing, but then I always go and I don't find anything.
Yeah, I felt
So,
that way about clothes too, but I definitely hardly do any online shopping. Louis, my husband, he loves online shopping. He buys everything that he can online. And clothes, for clothes too. He does a lot of clothes shopping online.
yay for modern technology.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for it.
Absolutely. This is how we're
I know.
speaking here right
Yeah, I mean, it
now.
sounds like we're talking about hating on it.
No, no, we're not hating on it. I'm not hating on it. You're not
Yeah,
hating on it.
I suppose I'm not hating on it, but maybe deep down.
You down, fucko.
Fuck the internet. Fuck you, internet.
Yeah,
Now I have
that's
to do
funny.
so much more in a day than I used to. I don't know.
But
I guess.
also in a sense, like, thank you, internet, because this is how we're having our conversation today. We're going to talk about psychoactive plant medicines, and we talk about some non-psychoactive ones too, revisionary plant medicines and spirituality and integration and expansion of consciousness that can be an effect of the visionary plant medicines.
Sounds like a lot to cover.
Yeah. Yeah, do the best we can.
Yeah, I'll do my best to remember all the topic word salad.
The topic where it's at, what I
No,
wasn't
no, you
clear.
were. Just my brain. That's what it's doing.
Oh.
It wasn't a reflection of what you're saying. It's a reflection of what my brain is doing. So I'm going to switch that. Like, heart, turn on.
Heart
Brain,
turn on.
relax.
Chill out, brain. Heart lead the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I invoke all of the spirits that serve my highest self that will allow me to just receive from the heart at all times. I mean, that's been the intention for many, 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 many years now. I guess it's like a lifetime of work, really.
Yeah, it certainly I think so too. It's a lifetime of work and just this like constant unfolding of things going on around us and unfolding inside of us, and how we use our consciousness to relate to ourselves and to relate to others, and really just how to best, go about living our lives
Yes, with the help of plant medicines.
with the help of plant medicines. Yeah, I had a big experience this weekend with some hongos, some mushroom medicine.
How is that for you?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was incredible.
You had the intention, sorry to interrupt. I know you had to pause there. Okay. I kind of, I need silence. No, I'm just kidding.
You're
But
good.
I did have a question because I know one of your intentions was to connect with the head medicine spirit of the mushroom. So I'm curious uh, if you could report back on that.
Sure, sure. So for the whole thing, Melissa was my sitter for the experience, and she did a
I
good job.
was. Thank you.
And she guided me in breath work and preparation, and also in the experience itself. And it was super clutch in the experience of the breath work, and even like the breath work that I've been learning from you for the past, I don't know, year and a half it's been or so. Um, yeah, that was really, really clutch during the ceremony. I remember at one point of just the visionary effects of the medicine being really strong, and just feeling my solar plex area and just feeling the breath go in and out, and just realizing what a divine miracle it is to just breathe, and then just this like very calming, warming sensation that just started from my solar plex area and was just extending through my whole body. The head medicine spirit of mushroom and how it showed up for me was it was a completely visionary experience, meaning that it was through all of my senses. And so um, a deep knowing that I was working with this energy of the medicine that is helping me get better at releasing anxiety, specifically anxiety that I had around experiences when I was a kid where maybe certain adults weren't very nice to me. And just releasing the anxiety that I have about maybe going and being around those people, and um and just anxiety around money, and really helping me to just understand um just this like interconnectedness of everything, and how I'm not separate from anything really. I'm not separate from the universe. I'm not separate from, this uh this divine miracle we call life. And I'm not separate from, you know, anything really. And this sense of connectedness really helped me to just calm down in the presence of this divine medicine, and to turn down the fear and to turn off the fear. And I received a lot of visuals um, throughout the whole night. That candle that I lit behind you was like illuminating this rainbow all around you, just like emanating just this rainbow of colors. And during the Icaros, it was helping me to connect with the Icaros and to learn from them and to understand in I didn't understand all of the Icaros and what they were saying, but through the vibrations, I understood it. Perhaps not through the words themselves, although some words I did in the ones that I know. And so through the hearing aspect of it and that part of um the visionary effects of it, and through the imagination, I was seeing this hawk. It's like it's hard to describe. It's kind of like a hawk or like an eagle kind of combined into one, just hanging out and really just watching over me and guiding me. And it really helped me open up my imagination and to go on a journey to go to this place in the underworld called the strata dimension, which stratifies your psyche. And I was able to go there and receive a diagnosis um, about this anxiety and really where it stemmed from. And I knew it too. Like I knew it even before going into the ceremony. Um, and then the through the imagination, just imagining all these kinds of flowers and Ramo Caspi and um, like the feeling of the Ramo Caspi tree of like this like hard wood and this like real sturdy force that I invited into my own life and my own body to be able to live within me and to guide me and to help me. And it started connecting me to all of the different head medicine spirits that I have dieted and that I have a relationship with. And it started helping me build clear communication channels with them, with letting go of preconceived notions of how I think it should be or expectations of how I think it should be, and help me build those connection in ways that I can. And it was just total visionary experience through all of the senses. It was really interesting too. I remember one of our teachers, Maestro Hamilton, saying that during the new moon part of the phase of the moon cycles, that the visual visionary effects tend to be a bit higher. And I definitely noticed that. And um, I know I saw Mary Magdalene show up and really just start giving me like all this sort of motherly love. And then I saw um, uh, an Egyptian deity show up, Thoth, and that one was really interesting because I asked, I was like, Thoth, what do you do? Like, I kind of want to know like what it is that you're doing. Like, what does a Egyptian deity do? And it's like, I have no words for it because it was so complicated, it doesn't fit into words. So
Mm.
that's all I got as far as that spirit goes.
You guys aren't speaking the same language yet.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't, it's just like so incredibly complex that
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Like for us to sometimes expect, sorry to interrupt you,
you're
that
good. That's all
this
I
like
had.
huge deity comes and we're gonna be like, can you tell me what you do? How can you help me? And like we're gonna understand it right away. Be like, oh, of course, Melissa. I was waiting for you to like show up and ask.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of seems like he was like kind of like gave me like the look like you're not gonna
You're like,
understand
who are
this.
you?
Yeah, right. But no, but that thing was really cool. And there was like, other ones too, like other ones that like I've never even like seen images of before, and it's like hard to even
Oh, there are
describe.
other ones you've never seen.
Yeah, right. It's like
Really? What an insight. No, I'm
thanks.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Because it sounds like your experience was pretty full.
It was very full. And then,
Cool.
just the setting of it and just like being around friends and like people who I know you who legitimately care about my well-being, and like that in and of itself is a medicine, and just the
Mm,
whole experience. And then at one point I just like right towards the end opened up into a whole field of consciousness, and so it was all of that at one time.
mm,
And it was
awesome.
amazing. It was amazing and it felt great. I always love the feeling of mushrooms, of like the waves that come over you, and just like that feeling. I love that sensation.
What can you describe it more? What the sensation feels like in your body?
Sure, I'll give it my best. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like waves of these sensations that uh felt really pleasant. It's just like if you could imagine like, you know, you're at a beach and there's the tide coming in, going out, and you feel it on the sand, like that gentleness sensation, which is all over the body.
That's
Mm.
amazing.
So that's sort of how it felt. I think that'd be a pretty good description of how it felt for my body. And so it was a really tremendous healing experience, which I'm really thankful for.
Awesome. That sounds like it was very healing.
Yeah, and I definitely felt it reworking my brain. And then
Mm.
the next day I felt a really deep sense of calm, relaxed. All of that worry just sort of went away. And really now the integration is like not letting it back in. And like saying no to all these distractions. We were talking about that, of like how easy it can be to get distracted when, we have all these devices around us. But I don't want to blame the devices. It's my relationship that I had with them. It's just a tool that you decide how to use it.
For sure.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about um, maybe previous mushroom experiences that you have had?
Not in particular.
Okay.
I'm actually learning a lot how to work with the medicine of the mushrooms. And I I've had only one experience where someone facilitated for me, and that experience was very similar to ayahuasca for me. I felt like I was having just an, it was the same, just the same sensorial and visionary experience as I would have had on ayahuasca or had had in the past. One thing that does stand out actually for me, because I had this experience, but I've also had this experience on ayahuasca, but then some of the more recent mushroom experiences I had. And I suppose because I had the experience, there was more maybe a purging of this. Because from my understanding, sometimes the things you're experiencing is a letting go of whatever you're releasing or whatever's being cleaned out or straightened or however it's being fixed or solved, whatever the word you use there, was this sense of I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to like life is so confusing. I felt confused, which also I noticed for myself is something that I experience when I'm purging is like a confusion, like a mental confusion. And so just a sense of like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I don't like this. A very, yeah, just that sense. And so that was something like a similar theme for the mushroom ceremonies that I did have. And that was one that, yeah, so it happened in the one that was facilitated. And then also I've been practicing just holding space for myself while I'm on the medicine. So I haven't had a lot of very pleasant mushroom experiences. Well, in a larger dose, in a dose that you would consider, I guess, visionary, or these words keep escaping my brain. The where you talk about the dose, the minimal effective dose. How do you call it? I keep forgetting it. Is that what it's called?
You just said it.
Okay, right. The dose, the least dose you need to have the vision, the visionary experience, like the onset, the peak or vision, and the landing.
What's that for you? How much?
Um, I mean, that one where I felt like I was on ayahuasca was a gram. Probably about two, I think 2 grams. I would maybe even, yeah, if I were to, actually, I don't know, now I would maybe take even a little more. It's hard to say. I've also been doing this microdosing protocol since the beginning of the month. So I'm on day 12 today. And this experience I'm really enjoying. I really
Can you talk about
feel,
that? I'm really interested in that.
yeah, yeah. So when you microdose, you are taking a small dose of the medicine and you're not supposed to feel any effects. I can't say like you don't feel effects, but you're still supposed to go about your daily business without being impaired. Whereas in a larger dose, you have you're laying down or however you're going to set your experience. You're focusing solely on the experience of the medicine. Where this dose is a dose you could take and go about your business of your daily life. So I've decided because I'm learning more about the mushrooms and I'm also learning how to help guide people through their experiences, that it is a learning experience for me to then be able to help other people with it, and also just an experience for me to experience it and also to get the benefits of the mushrooms. Because from my understanding, and you said you had this experience, and I think, to be honest, I haven't done a lot of research about mushrooms other than what I've been learning in my class with the Blue Morpho Academy. Um, there's a lot of benefits to our nervous system and to our um, like neuroplasticity, so changing our the patterns in our nervous system and in our brain. And so I really wanted those effects because I've been working at my brain reorientation. And I had felt like I got to a place where I was noticing changes. I was like, oh, I want to, use the medicine of the mushrooms now to like supercharge that. So my intentions were to help continue with the brain reorientation, to become more familiar with the head medicine spirit of the mushrooms and the medicine of the mushrooms, to help me to feel whatever I need to feel in order to just process like whatever energy, emotions, what's stored, what I have stored in the body, and to feel, to feel more gratitude and joy and kind of like excitement, like whatever you'd call positive emotions. and also to help with this story that I've had for a long time about, the me versus me, that I'm my own worst enemy. I've known this for a while. It happened in like sixth grade. I felt rejected, but then actually, like, I've been the one rejecting myself, my whole entire life. So just like, you know, I don't know, is it possible to ever be done with that? But just to work on more of that, really helping the mushrooms to do what they do and eat away at all of that, compost it, and turn it into something different.
Now, when I say this, I don't have a point of reference to not using it intentionally because for me, with mushrooms, I've every time I've had it, I've always had intentions with it to use it for medicine. But I would think that to successfully use it, no, maybe not though, but it's definitely going to help is the intentions you bring to it. So like if you're just using it as like a thing to like get high or like have an experience, I don't think you're going to have maybe the same experience. You're definitely not going to have the same experience as, if you would treat this with reverence as a sacred plant sacrament and really, encode within it your intentions before you're going into the experience so that you have those intentions set, like you were saying, to, you know, um, reprogram your brain to more positive patterns. And I mean, we hold the same intentions when it comes to that. We hold the same intentions for using it as medicine to really help us reprogram our brains to um, be able to think in a more positive patterning. So I think the intentions are so important with these types of experiences.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between there's the mushrooms or whatever substance you're going to talk about, and then there's using it in terms of a medicinal experience or a sacramental experience or a communion with the medicine, and then there's the drug culture. So the drug culture is to have the experience. And that's not to say in the medicinal space, it can't just be to explore, to have fun. But like you say, there's a ceremonial aspect, and well, you didn't say ceremonial, an intention aspect. Like my intention is to explore and to have fun, or to just what to know more. I'm curious about what this experience is like. So I think the intention's really everything, because that's really a big part of what differentiates medicinal use from I'm just taking this for the uh just to take it. I want to get fucked up, or however people say. And there's nothing wrong with that either. That's just not what we're here for. And then there
Right.
is the thing with the mushrooms, as far as my understanding goes, that, and this is I think true for probably all plant medicines, is that it contains all of the everyone's understanding of it, all of everyone's experiences with it, their consciousness in relation to it. So you do tell the mushrooms that you're here for medicine only. Like, you let them know that. My intentions are only medicine, even if those are just, I want to explore and like, what is this medicine? And I'm curious.
Sure. And, in terms of shamanism, you invoke its spirit and you invoke the head medicine spirit of the mushrooms and you say to the head medicine spirit of the mushrooms, to help heal you if you need healing, help you learn about the medicine if you would like to explore in the medicine. oftentimes I do that with cannabis. I don't have, I mean, sometimes I'll have like really like specific intentions. And then sometimes I have like really broad intentions. Like I just want to explore the medicine just to get a better understanding of like what it is you're about cannabis.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not that
not.
experienced with mushrooms, but
I feel like the exploration could be the whole life.
yeah, I just meant like as far as like having like X, Y, and Z intentions. Sometimes for me, I just want to explore the medicine and not have like
Yeah,
X, Y, and Z intentions
no, I
is
understand
what
that. No,
I
I'm
have.
saying the exploration is something that's like it could be a lifelong exploration. I mean, I don't want to. I don't to limit the scope and the expansiveness of any of these medicines in their consciousness or abilities, you know.
Me either. And it's awesome that you say it, their consciousness, because I mean, from from what I've experienced with these sacred plant medicines is that they are their own form of consciousness that has its own it has its own spirit. It has its own impetus. It's fascinating. It's fascinating how, when you ingest them, how they really start to work on you in your own body. And yeah, I felt that nervous system reset,
Yeah, that's
just
wonderful. I mean, right,
control alt
not
delete. Sorry.
that's
You
all
know.
good. Yeah, no, not only do they have the ability to fulfill your intentions, but they also just have their own medicinal properties that, right, like heal my body, heal, balance, ground, orient, and harmonize. They also have those properties to themselves where they can literally, cleanse, balance, all the things that fall under the healing. So there's that intention as well. Just, heal me in whatever ways you can.
I've really been just coming to this understanding of like how much of true divine miracle that these sacred plant medicines are for us as a species on this planet to use and like the true intelligence of the earth, Mother Earth, to really, create these things, I think, with a purpose to help us heal and to help us evolve and to help us get better.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to mind when you say that is just I know you're not separating anything, but it's just a reminder that everything really is like sacred and miraculous and divine, and it's not only these plant medicines. I mean, yeah, we're so lucky that they are available to us and that they have this intention of helping to expand our consciousness. But I think nature in general kind of has that ability, right? You go outside and you feel less stress. You don't have to take a plant medicine. I know we're specifically talking about that. But you could watch an animal and learn.
Yeah. For
There's just that kind of like miraculousness around everything. And I know that wasn't your intention, but that's just what kind of like came up when you said that. Just that to not separate it out. And we were also talking about that too
yeah, for me
prior
it was that
to.
reminder.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely constantly need that reminder. I mean, that's how our consciousness is or was programmed.
Yeah. Oh, I think our consciousness has been programmed as a species in separation.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
But yeah. And so yeah, it causes a lot of personal struggle when we can't see outside of the concept of separation. And for me, I mean, I know that that separation, um, for a lot of my past, I would completely exile myself from a lot of experiences and a lot of things. for the notion of like I'm separate, like no one can understand me, like
Oh,
all
hmm.
these things, and then you get to the plant medicines, and like, it's like the complete exact like truth of the matter of like that separation. Well, it's just a concept, and like it's useful to like understand your body and the environment around you, but like ultimately you're not separate from that environment. And actually, it taught me to create a much stronger understanding of my body. So during the experience this past weekend with the mushroom medicine, I had this I had this visualization of my body starting from the skin and like my whole body really. But so it started from like the skin and just like kept going in and in and in. So like my skin, my bones, my muscles, my tendons, my blood, my inner organs. And I was seeing all of that. And then I was seeing my body cells and then my molecules of my body. And then I was seeing the atomic structure of my body and the subatomic um, particles and that structure of my body. And then I just went into the what would be called the quantum or the basic unit, which is just like the basic unit of all life. And really sort of like blanked out for a little bit and with uh I guess I would describe it as an out of body experience to then come back into body. And then it started then at the subatomic, and I was seeing all of the subatomic particles and getting a visualization of them, and then the atomic, and I was understanding of like just an atom of like this is like my atom that I have of many, many millions of atoms, but like this atom is like
Millions. I mean, there's a trillion, 40
yeah, right,
trillion
or
cells.
millions and
Like,
millions.
I don't even, what comes
Yeah,
after a
geez,
trillion?
I
What
don't, yeah,
number? I
right.
don't know.
Yeah, I got that number messed up.
Yeah,
But
I mean, just to put some perspective in there, right? Like, I'm scared. I mean,
yeah,
like you're already getting a new perspective, but I mean, how many like subatomic and quantum particles are there in our body?
yeah. But
It's
just
like
like
just like the solar system, right? It's like the galaxies, spiral galaxies of quantum particles in the body, I am imagining. Ooh.
it's dense. Say that, it's dense. But yeah, and then just understanding of how all of what makes up my body with the atoms and the molecules and the cells and like the muscles and the tendons and all of the body systems, and then really just programming my whole body to being healthy and really getting that strong visualization of it.
That's amazing.
And a lot of that too is like uh mentally.
Well, you focus on the body. That's what I've been thinking of a lot recently. Like, you don't improve your brain by improving your brain. You improve your brain by improving, like, throw the neck down, or not necessarily improving, but focusing on that, or your consciousness as well, because that's, the precursor. It's your body that helps to create your mind, and your consciousness helps to create all of it.
Focusing on your own spirit of your own health and your own body.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going to fix your mind. Right? How are you going to fix your mind with your mind? That's that you can't use, well, Einstein has that quote, I think it is, right? Where you can't I'm not gonna be able to say what the quote is.
Is
I'm
it
sorry,
something
by the
like
way, I think I interrupted you.
I don't think you did. But
Okay.
is this something like you can't use the same tool to fix that tool or something like that?
I think Audre Lorde also says it, is that you can't fix the master's house with the tools that the master used. And then I think Einstein has this like a similar quote about your, I don't know if it's like your imagination. We'll have to look these up on the second brain afterwards. But
Are
yeah,
you
that's
saying the second brain is
similar.
the internet?
Yeah.
I didn't quite get that at first.
But that's similar to what what I'm understanding about your brain, right? I mean, and the mind, because the brain's connected to the entire body with the nervous system, and that's how you form your understanding. And then all the senses, it's not just like coming right into the brain. The brain's processing everything that's happening like within the body. I think historically there's been that split where like logic and reason rule and don't feel pleasure. Like that's base.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were saying like, we can't like essentially like you said like or I'm paraphrasing it or maybe putting it into like another uh thing, but you can't use the same tool to fix that tool. But that's why we have these visionary plant medicines to really, help us grow beyond the personal struggle and to release the personal struggle and to heal our bodies and to, help us get better.
Oh, for sure. Or help you have a new perspective because I think that's part of changing as well, is even just that like that ability to just see something in a different way is expanding the consciousness. It doesn't have to be a huge oh. Of course, I mean, I don't know, everyone wants that experience. I like that experience, but it really can be something just as simple as, oh, I didn't see it that way before.
You helped me with that this past weekend. You and the mushrooms with I had an specific intentions to receive insights about career development and shifting my perspective. You helped me shift with like understanding that like I have certain skills and that I could actually like really offer these skills to people to really help them and that I don't need to have the programming in my head anymore of like, I'm not good enough. I need to go find some external validation to then tell me I'm good enough so that I can go and do these things after I've been working for these things and building these skills for years.
Yeah, that's a
Not to
great
say like
insight
that
to have.
I'm like, like my point is that's not to say like I can't like continuously keep getting better, at these arts, but I can continuously keep getting better at these arts still and, be providing, people with guidance and becoming healthier and with fitness and guiding them through different types of shamanic ceremonies.
That's amazing that you had that understanding. I'm happy
Well,
for you.
I want to thank you for that because you definitely helped me to shift my perspective a little bit on that.
Well, you're welcome. Well, that's something for myself I shared with you that I'm been shifting also. And then it goes back to that intention that I had to not being the rejectable thing that I'm continuously rejecting. And I think I'm sure other people probably have similar experiences where you really have to learn to be your own supporter and not seek that validation from outside or someone else telling you or giving you the permission. I know that's something that comes up for me a lot in plant medicine is that there's a big like permission piece for me that I have to allow, I have to be open to the allowance of receiving.
Do you mean giving yourself permission or
Hmm.
finding permission from someone else?
No, switching. Yeah, it's a switch from having to find permission from someone else outside to really permissioning myself. Mhm. Finding the
That's
permission
beautiful.
inside of myself. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I was thinking of this experience actually in one of the Trinity retreats, which were the online retreats that we did with Blue Morpho. I had that understanding. The medicine was it probably wasn't even medicine actually, but it was like you, Melissa, you have to learn to validate yourself. And there was a part of me that was like, no, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I was really like, I could. I mean, this was like, I guess what I was experiencing the resistance as, right? Just this like contraction, like, no, I'm not doing it. And then during the ceremony, I must have chatted something to Hamilton, and he's like, "You're doing awesome." And I'm like, "Yes." It was just so funny. I was like, I still can't do it. I mean, yeah, I'm working on it. I feel like I have my back more than I ever have now. So I think I've done a lot of work around that. It's interesting though too. I had this insight or during a ceremony a couple of weeks ago. I think it was during one of the mystery school ceremonies where I saw, similar to what you were saying, I forgot how you just talked about it. You were talking about how you weren't including yourself. You were talking about around like how you were rejecting yourself as well. I forget what you said.
Yeah, yeah. I may not be
Yeah.
in those words, but it's definitely the
Right.
same impetus for
Right.
sure.
Right. Yeah, those weren't the words you used. But I saw how what like if I'm not it's not that I'm not invited to the party. I'm literally excluding myself from the party.
Yeah, like they're like, no,
Yeah.
I can't go.
Yeah, it's hard. I
Like,
mean, to even still, it's a lot to integrate that
but that's
because
amazing
that's
though.
like a
That
big shadowy thing, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, like, oh,
it's
I was
amazing
doing
though
that
that
all
shift.
along.
But that shift you said, where you instead of going for the external validations, you started to look within and to understand you're completely valid in what you're doing, and you've you're you're doing awesome, you're doing great, you're being your own supporter, and to have those shifts, I mean, yeah, that's medicine, and that's healing in and of itself. And you can, as we're doing now, looking back on those experiences and say like, wow, that really got better. That's been healed.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Even as I speak to seeing that, because I think oftentimes there's the urgency. Sorry, like a big bird just flew past my window. There's an urgency to fix the thing right away. Like, oh my God, I got to work on that like right now. Like I have to change it. But also at the same time saying no. And I have been changing that. I mean, I have been aware of it and I have been trying to do things to be more of a party goer than a party pooper.
It's really, what's been taught in the mystery school with accessing sanctuary consciousness, and being in that state of being and that state of awareness, to turn down and turn off the fear, because all of that really stems from fear. I know for me, fear has caused me to just want to not participate in things at all. But I know when I've known like those things are going to be like legitimately good for me, and I still have that like apprehension, and like I have that like thought like, I should, maybe I shouldn't go, but like like I was even thinking like maybe I shouldn't go to the mushroom ceremony this weekend, right? Like it was just like that thought, and it was like I was like, that's just fear. But like, if I would have listened to that thought, it would have like detracted me from having an amazing experience, but just invoking like, that little bit of courage to take the next step forward and, not be deciding out of fear, it really opens you up to just having a beautiful experience and new perspectives so that you can, be your own best cheerleader and your own best friend. And like you were saying, we were talking about after the ceremony of like really, like ending the fight of when you were saying like it just no longer has to be like me versus me or like you versus me. And then I was like, I was thinking of like at times in my life I was like it was me versus me. It was like me versus you, not you personally, but like just for your so you're aware, like the me versus everyone, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, all of this all these medicine experiences have really helped me to just totally just drop all of that and to just be open and aware and not in a conflicting state of consciousness. So much more peaceful, so much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think that, the experience comes from consciousness. I think at one point that was a level, it probably still is the level of consciousness that a lot of people are at, the conflict. But then I
Yeah,
also think that somehow and I don't know if that's because I don't know, what is your consciousness like when you're, 3, 4, 5? I don't know if it's that people that have this tribal consciousness are interacting with you, so then you create it because we have had experiences where, like for example, I'll use myself. I did have an experience where in sixth grade, like to get to the nitty gritty, the story, my friend stopped being my friend. And I, instead of saying, like, or bringing it to someone, I don't know what happened. I'm just assuming. Instead of bringing it to someone, wow, that's really hurtful. I was like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. I forgot what my point in saying this was. The creation of it is very interesting.
it is very interesting. The creation of, like you say, the tribal consciousness, us versus them, the dualistic type of framework
I mean,
in
maybe
our
because it
psyche.
is the nurture and the nature, right? So it's what's coming from outside, but then also what's coming from inside is all these other people that have been rejected or have been full of fear or whatever it is down, ancestors past. Humans are very
Yeah,
complex. It's very complex.
it is very complex. And actually, now that you mention it too, I've had similar experiences. Or maybe it was a little bit older than 12. I was more so, oh no, it's like, yeah, like close to then. And then like again, like later on in my school life. But I totally resonate with that and we can relate to what you were saying and too, and like about the how these like experiences then shape our inner world, and then in our inner world we've rejected ourselves into thinking like somehow we're not good enough, and then we come to the plant medicines to move beyond those ways of thinking and framing and to really create different patterning in our thoughts that are more supportive so that we don't have to reject ourselves anymore, and we don't have to reject fun experiences, and we can, instead of being our own worst enemy, stop hating on ourselves, stop warring on ourselves. And the
Yeah.
plant medicines teach that. They teach us to have harmony with our own being.
And the internal struggle for sure.
Yeah, and to release the internal struggle.
Yeah.
I think that for me created a lot of anxiety. Like, like I was having anxiety about my own internal world.
Yeah. I think that we all do. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, it's
Maybe
all
one day
incredibly
it won't
complex.
happen. Yeah, it really
You
is.
mean collectively?
Yeah, well, as we shift, everyone shifts their consciousness and evolves and expands in that. And I think maybe things become more balanced and harmonized and oriented and healed, and maybe people will live more from a body or from a heart space or from a balanced consciousness place, then the way that people start treating each other really changes, and the way that we interact with people and the way that, even taking it back, let's say, even the way that, like pregnant people are treated, or the way that we think of a baby or a fetus or whatever you want to call it in the womb, maybe even all of those things change, right? Maybe moms don't work anymore when they're pregnant, and they rest and they relax and they're like luxuriated and they get to take care of themselves, and someone takes care of them, and every day they're like celebrating the baby that's coming, and the babies, and that this happens in like bits and pieces, I'm sure, it's not like an all or nothing thing, but then the baby is celebrated and encouraged, and Hamilton's talked about that once recently in our ayahuasca experience, someone during his conversation. Like, it just really floored me how different things would be for people if that was really like the culture, all around, or at least just more than it is now, right? Like, how awesome would everyone's life be if, like, and people are, I'm not saying again, like, families aren't celebrating the people, but I mean, I know, like, I'm also like yelling at my kids sometimes, and I'm like, oh God, like, a baby should never be treated that way. Like, I should never be treated that way by myself. But, here we are trying to redo everything. Anyway, I don't know if I went off
No,
track with
no,
that.
we're talking about, our evolution as a species on this planet,
It's like we
and
de-evolved. Or maybe we
uh,
never were there, honestly,
I don't think
talking
we were
about,
ever
I don't
there.
want to like glorify the past, but I also don't want to hate on people. Like,
Well,
gratitude to everyone in the past, for
yeah,
doing
they
the
got
best
us
they
this far.
can. Yeah,
They
I
got us
mean,
this far.
yeah. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
I don't, you're not hating on people in the past. I didn't get that vibe from you at all. But I really, that just completely opened my eyes to what you were saying about, like, the mother, um, just like not working and being in like a complete state of comfort and relaxation, so that when this baby is born, and it's brought into the world and it's celebrated, just like the thought that I had when you were saying that is, wow, like, what would our species look like if collectively we just decided to start doing that? Probably much better. Like, what would people look like? How would people behave differently being, grown in that fashion, literally grown?
Yeah, grown. Yeah, well, one day,
One day.
little by little.
I think it's gonna start too with just like pockets of people, like you were saying, like, like there's sort of like the tribal states of consciousness, right? And I mean that exists within consciousness. And then there's the people who are just like want, to just live a peaceful existence and go about their daily lives and not really deal with any of the us versus them um, types of behaviors, and just like let's kind of like at least work at getting along and cooperating with each other. I think that's what's going to really, help us evolve as a species for the better. And I think I see it happening in its little ways.
Yeah, for sure. It's for sure happening. Just have to keep holding the vision
Yeah, I
and
mean,
doing your part.
yeah, I would say like, that's what I align with. I align with, just living a peaceful existence and just being in harmony with one another and cooperating with one another. It doesn't mean we're always going to agree on everything, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, cooperation doesn't mean I agree with everything you say, but it means that we could respectfully disagree or respectfully not see eye to eye. It doesn't mean that we're not eye to eye and heart to heart. It just means that I'm seeing things through a different lens or I have a different understanding, but it doesn't invalidate yours.
that's important. That's so important to recognize, I think, in how we interact with each other. Like even, you know, our friendship, it's helped me come to those understandings of like, you know, like if we have a disagreement, that doesn't mean like your experience is invalid then. It just means you have a different experience. You have your own unique experience about things. And that doesn't mean like that we're not eye to eye or heart to heart or any of my friends really. It just like helps me, and these plant medicines really do help me understand all of that. Just like we all have our own unique experiences and we all have our own unique way and the unique way we use words to be able to convey these experiences to other people and um, allow them to interpret what it is that we're saying. And just because someone has, a different experience than you doesn't mean that they're invalid. It's been big for me. I mean, for most of my existence, like had I've been taught to argue like all the time, or like,
Mm,
you know, parents who, if it wasn't if it wasn't like their way, it was the highway. If I don't agree with them, it's just wrong. It's like,
mhm.
well, no, it's not really like that.
You get what you get and you don't get upset. Someone taught
Yeah.
my kids that. I'm like, what?
Oh, really?
I
Who
like
taught
never
your kids
I
that?
it was the first time I heard that from my kids. I'm like, who taught you that? It's a wild world out there, kids. Don't listen to everything that you hear. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's literally crazy to think that just because you've experienced something some way, then that's how it should be for everyone. And then argue about it because of whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really goes back to that complexity of the experience that people have. You know, it's like your parents told you that. Well, my parents said that. They're the authority. They're the teacher said that. That's the authority. And then there's also the, well, why should that person not be upset or be upset? I wasn't allowed to be upset. Or, there's rules and there's what happened to me.
Mm,
It's super complex. You know, something I love that I think Hamilton brought this up at the mystery school or one of the ceremonies is like, help me or teach me how to understand myself. Like, please let me make sense to myself. Please let me be clear on understanding my own complexities and my own ways of being and seeing and experiencing and doing and all of it. It's like, yeah, please give me that.
spirits who serve my highest self, help me
Yeah, the
understand
spirits
myself.
that serve my highest self. Yeah. I think, obviously the spirit is the underlying everything. Well, I guess that's not obvious. It's obvious to me and you and
It's
to
obvious because we,
because I practice that.
learn about all of this. We
Right, because
practice
I've
it.
learned this way and I practice this way. So to me, this is obvious.
But for those who
Um,
aren't,
Right, right, right. Yeah. So no, I take that back to say that I don't think it is obvious between me and you. Obviously.
But between me and you, yes, I know what you're saying.
I forgot what I was going to say now because I did want to take that back. I understand that it isn't obvious for everybody.
The
Oh,
spirit
oh, the
underlying.
spirit. Yeah. I guess what it is that, yeah, just even the notion of there being spirits and there being these spirits that will support you in the way that you ask. And then also relating that back to the plant medicine, how they're supportive and helping us, evolve and grow our consciousness and really have that feeling of that we belong and that we are supported. And then with that understanding, we could do that for ourselves, which is, I think, the most important thing. Of yes, of course, the relationship with the spirit and our relationship with spirit. I mean, that's the most. I mean, I really feel like for me, that's my most important relationship, even above below the kids and the family, and Louis and everything, because I mean, that's me. And then relating with them and the support. But it's really, I think, and this is what you've been saying all along today, is really helping to just do that for yourself and to realize like, yeah, I do belong and I am this unique miracle and I have to treat myself as such before I expect anyone else to treat me as such. And then I also have to give that same treatment to everyone and everything else too, which is the work.
It's constant learning. It really is. It's just constant learning. And I mean, yeah, I'm there with you, just like giving that to myself. Like, yeah, I'm learning. We're learning this thing together.
Oops. I'm
Whoops.
just learning. Sorry about that.
That's yeah, and I mean, our intentions, I mean, I feel like I could speak for us in a way of like, we're giving it our best, right? Like that's your intention, right? Giving it your best, and that's my intention.
I know.
So I mean, like we're giving it our best, and yeah, there will be mistakes.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think, that just goes with what you were saying about how, you know, we need to just be gentle with ourselves and allow ourselves to understand ourselves, understand the mistakes we've made, learn from them, keep learning and make mistakes again and learn from that and to not be harsh on ourselves about it because we're just giving it our best and understanding that recognition of the intentions of just giving it the best that you have and really whatever you're doing. And you mentioned too, like just giving it your best with your relationship to spirit and saying that is the most important relationship you have. I would completely agree with you. My relationship with spirit is the most important thing I have because it's my relationship with everything,
Yeah.
the whole thing, the whole universe. That's the whole spirit of everything. So yeah, my relationship with all of the energies of this universe, all these forces that are around us, all these things, the people and their uniqueness that they bring, all of it at once. Yeah, it's such an important relationship. And it's all guided by your intentions too.
Yeah. Intentions, everything. I think what you said also, I think really turning that on to other people as well, right? Just accepting that they're doing, whether or not their they're intentionally doing it because again, not everyone has had the same experiences in education and path that I've taken. Whatever they're doing, whatever mistakes they're making, even if they are making the same mistake the same way again and again and again and again and again. I mean, I don't have to be a part of that, but I could still offer them compassion and, you know, and whatever else they need, but just turning that towards other people as well.
Yeah,
And that's not to say to let someone like victimize you, not victimize you, but like put their stuff on you, however you want to
right,
say that. But
right. It doesn't mean
just to
that.
have that understanding for people and to hold that space. You know, like you don't have to hold that space for them, but just offering them that same kind of that same gentleness. Reminds me of that Super Bowl commercial. Did you see that last night? Where
Which
the
one?
Jesus commercial?
I didn't. I gotta watch it
Oh
more.
yeah. Yeah, there was I think two commercials at least that I saw about Jesus. So there was a commercial where there was just all different people. So there was, you know, someone in a house I remember, and there seemed to be like I think it was like alcohol bottles were like thrown on the floor, like strewn on the floor, and someone was washing that person's feet. So it was the how Jesus washed other people's feet, you know, just accepting that everyone's right, that unique miracle. And unfortunately, not everyone was raised or taught or has the experience of themselves being that or being treated like that or, you know, any of it, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're here together on that one. Just, mm, and that's learning too, learning how to have that compassion for other people, because that's not always taught either,
Oh,
of
no.
how to be compassionate towards others. And I think really, that's, that is what Jesus teaches. Actually, thanks for reminding me about Jesus washing others' feet, because I completely forgot about that until you reminded me.
Yeah,
But
like talk about humility, right?
complete humility. Yeah, beautiful.
Hmm. It's interesting though, because I always think about this with the kids, you know, and again, I think that kind of goes back to that question before, the nature, the nurture, the consciousness, the because if you see two kids in the sandbox and one takes the other kid's toy, the other kid is going to hit that kid and say like, "Give me that toy back," you know, or not say it, but they're gonna fight over it. You know, they're not gonna. I don't know if you need to have a certain level of understanding before you could even offer someone else compassion or yeah, it's just like something I've been exploring.
I've explored that too. I think that the certain level of understanding you're talking about first starts with giving it to yourself, and then simultaneously giving it to yourself and the people around you.
Yes, I think for adults, I guess I'm questioning, you know, and I teach my kids compassion by showing myself compassion and by showing them compassion and when I can directly like speaking to it. But uh, sometimes they have it, but oftentimes they have more of that.
I know what
Well,
you're
this
saying.
this person did that, so I did that. You know, they don't have the compassion. So
I know
that's
what
I
you're
don't know
saying.
if I'm articulating like what my actual question is. It's
No, no,
complicated
no.
because
It's
I have
complicated, but
yeah, and I also have had that question like why are we not taught from the very beginning patience and compassion and forgiveness and respect and love? I mean, and I think maybe people were teaching us in the best ways, or maybe they weren't taught that. I think again that goes back to the question, you know,
I
why
think
did I have to
really,
learn all this at 30? You know, like why?
yeah, I know what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. I think it's something to do with how, w- you know, we we're the human animal. There's an aspect to us that's animalistic, right? And
I want to say all of us is
all of us.
animalistic.
Yeah, no, all of it. I'm saying like humans, like,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
not
we're the human
like our
animal.
entirety, right?
I think so, but I also think though in a way that when we intend to evolve past those animalistic qualities, that we're evolving beyond those animalistic qualities, and that happens in someone's lifetime when they learn compassion for other people and compassion, well, first for themselves, like you were saying, like the kid in the sandbox, like he takes your toy and that kid socks him.
You're gonna hit him with it.
But yeah,
Actually, you
yeah,
don't have the
right.
toy. You're gonna hit him
Right.
with the other toy.
The other toy, right? Like I think there's a certain aspect of us when we're younger where you know, like we're in more of our animalistic forms, and
Mm,
then when we learn certain types of ways of behavior that aren't so animalistic, we're evolving beyond like sort of like that savage part of our being.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I have to think about that. I like that. It's interesting because I think that, yeah, like we feel like we're so evolved, but then we have to relearn, or not necessarily relearn, but learn it at, I'm just speaking from my own experience, going back to how, yeah, it took so long for someone to actually like say, hey, this is the way. No one else was telling me that.
Same here. Maybe like
Oh,
little snippets I got from like church and the teachings of Jesus Christ, but like the like you know beyond just I guess the story of it, but or even the stories of it too. Like maybe I got some of that of like compassion for other people, like really what JC has to offer. But like other than that, no, it's just completely taught like that like you said, that kid steals your toy, fucking go get another toy and hit him with it. Give me that back. Now I have both toys. I'm the head monkey.
yeah, yeah. And again, people are doing the best they can. I forget what my question was. My brain is just like that. But
Well,
this
we're
has been
almost
a
at that
fun
2 hour mark.
conversation.
It
Yeah. Well, we
has.
could chat a few more minutes
Yeah,
if
yeah.
anything comes up. But yeah, I think my brain, like, I just forgot the point I was even trying to make. It does remind me what you're saying. So in the mystery school chat, someone had posed a question about God, and I said something about free will, and then I don't know what free will actually is, but I do think kind of what we're talking about, like we have the ability to intentionally decide things based on, our level of awareness, all of it, right? All of the complexity that we've gone through and experienced. But there, right, that someone was saying, then I think answered that, like there is this like impetus that, or impulse actually, which is like the quality of energy, right? All energy has like a movement associated, the impulse. So like the animal impulse to, right, just knock someone out versus, okay, wait, I see this person in line. Oh, like for example, yes, the other day, Louis and I and the kids, we were walking on this indoor track on the way to dropping the kids off at their football. And some lady's like, "You're walking on the wrong part of the track." And we're like, "Okay, thank you. I mean, you're not going to bump into us, lady." Like, we're going to move before, like, before, yeah, you're going to have plenty of ample space to walk. You know what I mean? Without me
Yeah.
furthering the conversation, but you know what I mean. But then also being like, you're right, lady. We are walking on the wrong place of the track. Like,
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a great story of just about like not instigating because like he totally could have been like, "Fuck you, lady. I'm gonna walk right into you."
right, and you know me, that's what me and Louie are saying. Like,
Yeah, right,
but of course,
internally.
we're gonna be like, you're right. Thank you for pointing out the rules to us, ma'am. But there's
Oh,
that
that's a
lady's impetus to like, you're not following the rules, and our impetus to say, well, fuck you. We're just
yeah,
following the kids. But
yeah.
right, when it all comes down to it, just like having respect for her and the rules of the community center and her ability to walk without being disturbed, and our ability to walk and know when we have to move out of someone's way. And I don't even know how, how I'm meaning this to relate to what my question was.
Oh, I mean, it's a great
Or what you
story.
were saying. I like how that pointed it out because it it illustrates to me that like impetus of like the animal, right? Like just instinctual, just moving on instinct all the time.
Yeah, it's a great story about how, you had this experience where, you had this lady say something to you, and then like internally you had that like animalistic uh instinct or impulse, but your consciousness went, no, let's not do that. Let's not have WrestleMania on the track.
How funny
And
would that be?
give him the stone cold stunner.
I'm gonna give you the people's elbow, lady.
Hilarious.
Imagine we just like stood there. Well, what are you gonna do about it? But even when we left, I'm like, Louis, let's make sure we walk on the other side. I don't want to get told on and like not be able to come to the community center. There's my rule follower. Like, let's do it right this time, Louis.
That's great.
I'm crying.
Well, on that note, let's
Yeah.
wrap things up. I gotta use the bathroom.
You gotta go purge. All
Yeah.
right, everyone. Thanks for listening. I think this was an amazing conversation. I really learned a lot and had a great time. I noticed I interrupted frequently. Sorry.
Yeah, same here. We're learning. It's
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah. So let us know what you learned. Leave a comment, subscribe, like, share with your friends. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And yeah, thank you for the
Is sharing
conversation.
caring though? I mean, I feel like that could go both ways. Back to this entire
Yeah, right?
conversation, right? Like your
It
parents
could
tell you,
go
like, you
both
have
ways.
to share. Sharing is caring. You're
How
like,
about
fuck
this one? How about
you.
this one? Share the care.
Share the care. Yeah, for sure. Share the care. I mean, if you can, right? Share the care. And when you can't, receive the care. How about,
Yeah.
I don't know, don't mark my words. Just follow your heart.
Let the heart lead
Yeah.
and the
All
brain
right.
interpret.
Yeah, brain. Do not lead the way. You don't know what you're doing.
Thank you. This was a fun conversation and had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks
Bye,
for tuning
everyone.
in.